The High Court in Johannesburg has declared the ANC's decision to disband the North West Provincial Executive Committee, of which Supra Mahumapelo was the chairperson, as unlawful.
Judge Fayeeza Kathree-Setiloane found that the ANC had been procedurally unfair in reaching its decision to disband the North West PEC and had flouted its own constitution. The court has further declared that the provincial task team led by Job Mokgoro be dissolved in the next 2 days. Mahumapelo had been sacked together with his entire provincial executive committee late last year following a number of disruptive ANC meetings.
The decision of the ANC made on 31 August 2018 to disband the North West Provincial Executive Committee is declared unlawful and set aside. 2. The decision of the NEC of 20 September 2018 to appoint a provincial task team is declared unlawful and set aside. 3. The PTT is interdicted from carrying out any of the functions conferred on it by the NEC and the ANC Constitution. 4. The disbanded PEC is reinstated within 2 court days of this order. 5. The ANC is ordered to pay the cost of the application, including the cost of 2 counsel. 6. The ANC is ordered to pay the cost of 20 November 2018, including the cost of 2 counsel. It is so ordered.
We now take this discussion further with the former ANC chairperson in the Northwest, Supra Mahumapelo, who joins us live in our studios in Johannesburg. Mahumapelo, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to the viewers of SABC.
Now, you earlier told the journalists in court that you are not necessarily elated because you were not supposed to be there in the first place. But the question is, why did you end up there?
Well, it's not necessary for us to be triumphalists on this particular matter because we are against triumphalism. Triumphalism doesn't help the African National Congress. We were not supposed to be in court in the first place because the National Executive Committee should have paused before it took this particular decision. We were never opposed to the constitutional right of the NEC to dissolve the PEC. But we were saying that the processes that they must follow must be processes that are consistent with the Constitution, and the court has confirmed that today. So we are saying it's not good for our organization to have reached that particular stage. What is now remaining is for us as cadres of the movement to meet with our leadership and chart a way forward.
Do you agree that this is a loss to the ruling party on its own a few months before the election?
Well, I don't think it's a loss. I think in any revolution, as you move forward, you come across challenges and you learn lessons from some of the challenges that you come across. So the critical challenge that we'll be facing, all of us, including the NEC, will be what are the critical challenges we have learned from this process, and how do we make sure that going forward we try and avoid some of the things.
But do you still believe in the NEC? I mean, for the fact that you had taken the party to court, do you still believe in the NEC?
Well, in any family, Palace, I mean, we've got issues in the family, and we address issues internally in the family, and we ask extended families to come in, and the matter is resolved. It doesn't mean that we no longer have a belief in you as part of the family. So we still have a belief in the National Executive Committee. It is the highest decision-making body in between national conferences. We just want the NEC to continue to be consistent with the Constitution, and that's all.
I think a few weeks or days ago, there were reports that you were to meet with the SG of the ANC, Ace Magashule, to sort of try to resolve this matter. Did that meeting take place?
Yeah, we met.
And what came out of that meeting?
The agreement was that one of the things we had raised with the Secretary General was that the national leadership must consider agreeing with us that all the issues we had raised before they dissolved the PC will be addressed by the National Executive Committee, and that if they address those particular issues, we can then withdraw from the matter. So what the SG then said to us was that he was going to be talking to the collective of the National Executive Committee officials, and then he will come back to us. It looks like the consultation process took a bit longer, and now is overtaken by events.
But have you spoken to the top six now, or any
Well, I haven't had time to talk to our leadership of the NEC.
Have they been in touch with you, perhaps?
I'm sure they've been trying to get hold of me, but we are members of the ANC. We must subject ourselves to the authority of the National Executive Committee and our leadership. So I'm sure we will be called to Lutulo House. If they don't, we will inform our leadership that we are ready to go to Lutulo House and discuss with our national leadership, because this is not a legal matter. It's a political issue within which the legal...
It's a political issue which was taken to the courts, isn't it?
Yes, the courts are providing us with an opportunity to reflect better on that particular political issue. So it's an opportunity for us.
Now, we do know, of course, there were factions in the lead up to Nasrec, of course, NDZ and CR17. Would one be correct to say that what we see play out now is part of that? Yeah,
we shouldn't be denialist. I mean, the fact of the matter is that before we went to Nasrec, there were people who were saying that they are going to be making sure that the peace is dissolved after Nasrec. And we went to the leadership of the officials of the NEC in February last year, and we said to them, there is this simmering thing in the province. We don't think it will help in building unity and renewal of the organization. Please intervene. So the national officials said to us they'll come back to us, and they never came back to us. So it's quite clear that even if this is not coming from the top echelons of the National Executive Committee, we've got a sizable body within the NEC and some members of the ANC who are still in the mood of Nasrec. And the sooner they get out of that mood, stop being triumphalist, making sure that you lead the organization objectively, you unite everybody, make sure that the ANC wins the elections in May, we can then be able to unite the ANC.
Are you saying that the ANC as it is now is not united? I mean, we've heard the party preaching unity before Nasrec, even after Nasrec.
The fact that we preach unity doesn't mean that overnight, like a bullet coming out of a gun, there will be unity. It's a protracted process which the leadership has to pay attention to, and us as the membership. Building unity is like a road that is perpetually under construction. You will never reach a stage where you say you have achieved unity, because the conditions under which you want to build unity change all the time. Therefore, as a leadership, you need to be sensitive to those changing conditions and detach your emotions from the process. As soon as you detach your emotions from the process, then you can lead objectively. But if you overinvest in emotions in the process, you are going to arrive at wrong conclusions.
Yeah. Now, you've spoken about the elections. As I said earlier, we are just a few months away from the national elections. You've been with the ANC for 36 years, as you say. Are you worried personally, as an individual, as Supra Mahumapelo, who joined the ANC 36 years ago, that the voters are confused, that this might make the ANC lose more votes in the upcoming elections?
I don't think so. I think what we must do as a movement, the ANC is capable of rising to any occasion without being arrogant. So what we'll have to do as a movement is to continue to be humble, go to the voters and work very hard,
but
and be honest with the voters.
They're seeing these events playing out in public.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that based on those events, the voters will move away from the ANC. What we need to do is to clarify the voters on why we are here and how we want to disentangle ourselves out of the situation where we find ourselves in. And people will vote for the ANC.
All right, so how do you think you can help heal the divisions that you're referring to going forward? What role do you think you can play, more so in your province, which has been very, very divided over the past 2 months?
We had said to the national leadership, and we are not going to move away from that proposal because it's an important proposal. We had said to the leadership, there are some individuals who over time say they are not included in the structures of the ANC. Let's do it very simple. Each one of these individuals who are complaining, who are now in the PTT, which the court has said is nullified, let's take all of them to their branches and call a general meeting and afford these individuals to address a general meeting, so that the general meeting of the members of the ANC must be the one that says there is no inclusivity, not individuals. If we can do that, and we take time, and we're committed to that process, I think we'll unite the ANC. Unlike allowing individuals who have got connections in the NEC.
But who are those individuals? Are you able to name them?
Yeah, we've got the list. I won't mention them now, but they are 38 in number. They've been doing this for many years now, for about 15 years. They can be elected in branches, in regions, in sub-regions. What they work on all the time and master is the art of lobbying some members of the NEC to dissolve structures.
All right. So I do know that there are different opinions on this judgment. Some people saying that it may impact on what happened in Nasrec. Some people saying it may not. But I do know that part of your argument in court was if the branches have been dysfunctional since 2016, as the ANC says, there could be no valid national conference because such branches automatically would not have passed the audit process.
Yeah.
So are you pursuing that as well?
Look, as the applicants, we had urged our leadership not to take that route as part of defense because we are still members of the ANC. So we can't allow the ANC to take a posture that says, when in their documents, to say as part of defense, the branches were bogus when we went to Nasrec. Because immediately you say that, you are opening up a window for Nasrec to be challenged. That's why we said to our leadership, don't take that route. It's a disastrous route. It's not going to help us. Let's focus on the facts that are there on paper and see how we can then go back and unite the organization. So we don't think we must be pursuing Nasrec per se. But if the national leadership continue to say the branches are bogus, we'll be left with no option but to indicate that former SG signed off the audit reports, that those branches participated in the national conference, and therefore, if you say the branches were bogus, by implication, you are saying there were some elements of bogusness in Nasrec, and we don't want to take that route.
So what happens next? Are you going back to your position as the chairperson of the ANC in the Northwest, as the judge said?
Well, it's the court that says so. Remember, we are a constitutional democracy. So one of the struggles, achievements was to have as part of the rule of law, was to have the courts as one of the arms of the state. So the court says that the PC must be reinstated, but we are not triumphalist in that approach. That's why we're going to start with Luthuli House and say, collectively, comrades, we now face this particular situation. How do we emerge as the organization united, prepared to renew the organization and emerge victorious in May in the elections? I don't think it's a difficult issue for us to bring our members together in the province, working with Luthuli House.
Some people are saying that this is just you fighting for power, wanting back your position. Is that true? Is it for power or is this for the ANC?
No, it's for the principle of the African National Congress. If tomorrow the members of the ANC ask to say we shouldn't be going back into those particular positions, we'll simply agree with them. So it's not for positions. I have never fought for positions.
But do you personally want to go back to your position as the chair?
No.
Let's put the courts aside and talk about you as an individual.
No, we want justice to be done.
Which is?
And if as the court has ruled, part of justice is to reinstate the structure which was democratically elected
which
in the
means
conference.
that you'll go back to your position as the chairperson.
Yes, but it's not personal.
And you declined to be part of the new interim leadership, the PTT in the province.
Yes, because you can't have two tongues. You have an issue with a decision taken which you say principally is wrong, but at the same time you want to enjoy the rights of saving in a product that is actually fraudulent, as the court has decided. So it's not about positions. It's neither here nor there. What is key is to unite the organization, learn lessons from this process, renew the ANC, emerge victorious in May, and continue to build unity. As I say, we'll never arrive at a stage where we say we have achieved unity. It's a continuous process.
A quick one here in conclusion. A solution that you think will benefit the people, irrespective of who's right and who's wrong now. What do you think that solution would be?
Well, I think we must sit down with Luthuli House and then convene the PEC in the province. Then the PEC must come up with a way forward, which we must then give to Luthuli House, then go back to the province with Luthuli House to bring everybody on board so that we focus on the elections so that the ANC can emerge victorious in May. That is key. And the most important thing, not where we are in terms of positions.
All right, so when you leave here, do you call Luthuli House or do you wait for Luthuli House to get in contact with you?
Well, I'm going to be in touch with the leadership. Of course, they've got other appointments. I can't be shifting them. Who is Supra to be saying to leadership, leave your appointments and stuff. So if they are available any day, we will meet with the leadership. If the leadership says come anytime, even midnight, we are disciplined members of the ANC. We must go when the leadership calls.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Ralebo.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's the former Northwest ANC chairperson, Supra Mahumapelo, of course, giving his side of the story due to what happened in court earlier today. But we take this discussion